Picture a quiet Cretaceous shoreline. Mudflats steam in the morning heat. Something huge breaks the surface without a ripple. This isn't a movie croc. It's Deinosuchus, the terrible crocodile, a real giant that stalked the edges of a warm inland sea. It didn't just eat fish. It hunted anything that came near the water, including dinosaurs that made one wrong step. Today, we're following the clues it left in bone, armor, and mud to see how this ancient ambush artist turned coastlines into traps. Start with the head. Deinosuchus carried a colossal skull, well over a meter long in big adults, with a broad, deep snout built for grabbing and holding. The upper surface was textured like hammered stone, a lattice of pits that speaks to heavy, living tissue on the bone. The nostrils sat forward, perfect for breathing with everything else hidden. The jaw joint was massive, and the neck thick with muscle. Every curve says the same thing: stay low, strike up, and end it fast. Now the armor. Deinosuchus wore a pavement of osteoderms, bony plates under the skin, each one deeply pitted, some with honeycombed interiors. Those plates stiffened the back and anchored big muscles, turning the whole animal into a living sled. The texture also shows rich blood supply, meaning the armor grew and remodeled over decades. Some researchers think those plates could store minerals, useful during growth or nesting. Whatever the side jobs, the main job was clear: shield the body while the skull did the damage. So, what did it actually do? Fossil evidence doesn't mince words. On coastal dinosaur bones, especially duck-billed hadrosaurs, paleontologists have found deep, round bite marks that match Deinosuchus' teeth in size and spacing. Some bones show healing, meaning a dinosaur survived the first crunch. Others look like a dinner plate, cracked and gnawed. Nearby, turtle shells are shattered like dropped pottery. It's a crime scene in stone. A giant croc waited at the water's skin and cashed in on any panic within reach. Look at the teeth themselves. They're not the razor cones of fish-snapping crocs. Deinosuchus carried thick, blunt, banana-shaped teeth in the back of the jaws, perfect for crushing. The front teeth were stout grabbers. The rear were bone breakers. When that mouth closed, it didn't slice, it folded things. Modern bite measurements give us a baseline, and scaling up suggests Deinosuchus had one of the strongest bites in crocodilian history, easily enough to split a turtle in two and punch deep divots in dinosaur bone. Picture the hunt. The shoreline goes quiet. Deinosuchus sits on the bottom, weighted by armor yet buoyant enough to hover. Only eyes and nostrils peek above the surface. It waits where fresh water meets salt, tidal rivers, lowland bayous, estuaries feeding the western interior seaway. Suspended sand tickles its skin. A step at the edge sends a pressure wave through the water. The jaws rise in a short, brutal arc. A sideways shake, a roll, and momentum does what teeth begin. The kill isn't a sprint. It's a trap with perfect timing. Here's the scale check that resets the stakes. At full size, Deinosuchus could reach around 8 to 10 meters in length, bus-long bodies pushing several tons. Not every individual was a giant. Many were mid-sized subadults. But the upper tier changed shorelines. An animal that big doesn't hide in tall grass. It hides under light. Muddy water is a curtain, and the body is the ambush platform. Huge head, short burst, terminal grab. That's the whole blueprint of a coastal tyrant. Where did it live? Across North America. Fossils turn up from New Jersey, down through the Carolinas and Gulf Coast, across Texas and northern Mexico, and out to the western plains, Montana and Utah among them. Different populations occupied different sides of the inland sea, and researchers recognize multiple species across that range, eastern and western forms shaped by local waters. The one common theme: brackish estuaries and slow rivers, places that churn mud, carry fish, and lure thirsty dinosaurs. How do we know it liked that mix of waters? In some sites, the chemistry locked in Deinosuchus teeth points to swings between fresh and salty conditions. The surrounding rock, river sands, estuarine silts, shells of coastal invertebrates tells the same story. Even the company it kept in the fossil record, turtles, gar-like fish, shoreline plants, paints a map of low, warm margins. Picture broad tidal flats, conifer-lined channels, palms pushing out over coffee-colored water. This wasn't a lake monster. It was a delta specialist. Time to bust a few myths. Deinosuchus wasn't a dinosaur. It was a crocodilian, part of the alligatorid line. It didn't sprint across open plains to chase big game. It didn't patrol the deep ocean either. And it didn't coexist with the very latest Cretaceous giants in their final moments. Its prime was earlier, roughly 82 to 73 million years ago. If you want to see it at work, don't imagine a showdown on dry land. Imagine a ripple under a dock calm tide and a shoreline hunter that wins by making noise only after it's too late. Let's talk growth and life history. Lines of arrested growth inside osteoderms show Deinosuchus took decades to reach its heaviest size. Early years likely ran fast, plenty of food, warm water, long seasons. Then growth slowed as the armor thickened and the skull broadened. That tempo fits a long-lived ambush predator. With age came patience and perfect aim. Older animals hogged the best bends and quiet coves. Younger ones took side channels, safer water, and smaller prey until they could muscle into the prime seats. Reproduction remains a mystery box. No confirmed eggs or nests have been tied to Deinosuchus yet, but river levees and sandy banks were everywhere. Given crocodilian biology, mound nests and vigilant parents are solid bets. Imagine a low island of rotting plants, warm from the sun, with the mother parked a body length away, head just out of the water. Hatchlings would have been bite-sized for almost everything, so cover mattered. In a world of big fish and bigger reptiles, the safest nursery was a maze of roots and shadows. What about sound and senses? A skull that size frames a suite of pressure receptors along the skin and a mouth wired to pick up tiny ripples. The eyes ride high, with vertical pupils for control in bright light and dusk. And like modern crocodilians, Deinosuchus probably broadcast its presence with deep bellows, low chest-shaking pulses that move through water and air. In a foggy estuary at dawn, that voice would feel like weather. It's easy to forget, but sound can police a shoreline before teeth ever show. Now, the feeding traces that clinch the reputation. At several sites, paleontologists have found hadrosaur bones bearing semicircular gouges the size of bottle caps, spaced like the jaws of a giant vise. Turtles show crushed carapaces with spalls of bone missing right where a robust, blunt tooth would press. And some bones turned up near accumulations of Deinosuchus teeth shed during feeding, an echo of a shoreline where a struggle exploded, then stilled. It's not a guess. The geometry, the tooth wear, and the damage all fit the same culprit. So why did this shoreline empire shrink? Climate and coastlines changed. Sea levels fell and rose in pulses, but the long arc in parts of its range was regression. Estuaries narrowing, wetlands shifting, river mouths marching seaward. When habitat fragments, giants pay first. Prey communities changed with the channels. Competition at the edges sharpened. By about 73 million years ago, the signature armor and skulls of Deinosuchus fade from the record. Its world didn't end overnight. It thinned until the trap no longer paid. And yet, its shadow is still on the map. Along ancient river bends turned to stone, you can run your fingers over armor plates like cobbles and see the pitted skin of a living tank. In museum drawers, banana-thick teeth sit beside dinosaur bones they once dented. The message is simple and a little mischievous. The scariest hunters don't need to chase. They learn where the path narrows, then become the path. If you had to cross that Cretaceous shoreline, would you risk the water or sleep thirsty?